got one of the most riveting songs I want to tell you about on my fantasy playlist, a top 40 extra on this fantasy playlist of May 8, 2022. And I'll get to the number one record. I got one more video to do after this to get to number one, get to the number one video, because I want to redo one of the videos I made about a month ago. But anyway, let's get back on this one. Brandi Carlile with the album In These Silent Days, Broken Horses, the song I want to talk to you about. One of the most riveting records I've heard so far this year. One of my favorite songs on this fantasy playlist. The album was released on October the 1st, 2021. The longest song on the album runs about 5 minutes and 20 or 30 seconds, something like that. The version on YouTube might be a little bit shorter than that. But, sometimes, on these longer records, they repeat choruses over and over and over and over again, like they did a lot back in the 80s. But this record, it's worth all 5 minutes of it. I read one critic who mentioned that Brandi Carlile has yet to come out with a bad record. And boy, what a reputation she's got. The first single, as far as I know, she's come out with only one single off the album called Right on Time, earned 3 Grammy nominations, including Song of the Year. The album In These Silent Days, her latest album, debuted at number 11 on Billboard's Top 200 album charts. Produced by Shooter Jennings. And I guess you can call him a country artist. His mainstay has been country, but he's a bit more eclectic than that. But he's come out with about 6 or 7 albums so far. And Dave Cobb, another guy who produced this album, he's worked with Chris Stapleton. And he's been a presence on the country charts for the last few years. Chris Stapleton, Anderson East, John Prime, and the Highwaywomen. The Highwaywomen, by the way, was a female supergroup that collaborated several years ago. It was between Maren Morris, Amanda Shears, Natalie Hemby, excuse me, my voice is giving out on me already. Natalie Hemby and Brandi Carlile, very, very talented women that got together and formed the Highwaywomen, and they might have come out with an album or two. There's an organization called Metacritic. Metacritic, what they do is they assign review ratings. They assign ratings up to 100. Based on reviews they get from critics from around the world or from across the country. Based on 11 reviews, the album In These Silent Days by Brandi Carlile got an 87 out of 100. Now, you get that high up to number 87, you're in critically acclaimed territory. First female song, excuse me, my voice keeps crapping out on me. Why do I make a video, my voice craps out on me? Just bear with me. Bear with me. It'll be worth it. This song is worth it. First female songwriter to receive 2 nominations, and I take it 2 Grammy nominations for Song of the Year. Same year for Song of the Year. In the same year. Brandi Carlile. Oh, by the way, her first album, well, I'll get to that in just a minute. I'm running ahead of myself. She's originally from a remote place called Ravensdale, Washington. It's 50 miles from Seattle. She took a lot of hiking trips up into the woods with her family and friends. She taught herself how to sing, self-taught. Boy, she can coast between octaves just effortlessly. She's got an amazing singing voice, pristine singing voice. I mean, particularly when she gets in these quiet moments of the song, she is center stage. The Klieg lights flashing down on her, and boy, she could belt it out. She's a fabulous singer. Well, anyway, her first love was country music. Her parents had a classic country collection. Patsy Cline, she loved Patsy Cline, but by the time she was 17 years old, she got into rock and roll. She taught herself how to play guitar, listening to 70s Elton John albums. Probably albums like Captain Fantastic and Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, all those great albums from back in the day by Elton John. And she started playing the clubs, the local clubs, and she played anywhere. Just as long as she could play. She actually backed. One time she played behind or backed a Elvis tribute band. There was a rock band. There was a local rock band that broke up. It was called Fighting Machine. And what happened there, if she was a member of that band, well, here's what happened. The band broke up. Fighting Machine, the original members broke up. But Brandi Carlile persuaded one of the other band members, former band members, to reform Fighting Machine, and they became a rock and roll band. But Brandi Carlile, her songwriting and her acoustic guitar work just was outstanding. It shone right through. Her talent shone right through. She got a record deal in 2005 with Columbia Records. Her debut album came out in 2005. I think it was self-titled, but I'm not sure. But Rolling Stone dubbed her an artist to watch. And this was in 2004. And The Story, the album The Story, her second album, came out in 2007. And I wasn't very specific when I got this down, but either the album or the single itself sold about 500,000 copies. And that's when I got introduced to Brandi Carlile back in 2007. VH1. Oh gosh, remember VH1 when they were playing videos like MTV? Well, by 2007, VH1, they were going down that reality TV stuff, you know, during the daytime, but they were still playing videos at night, and they were quite innovative. They showed her the love. I remember Katy Perry's first video, I Kissed a Girl, saw that on VH1 back in the summer of 2008. But we're in 2007 now, and they really pushed Brandi Carlile, The Story, and I showed the love on my fantasy playlist back into the archives again. Archives, July 22nd, 2007. Brandi Carlile's The Story, no stranger to my fantasy playlist. I took her up to number 12, took the song up to a respectable number 12 on this fantasy playlist. Going back to 2007, look at Brad Paisley with Ticks at number 1. Sean Kingston with Beautiful Girls at number 2. That was a big one. And also Scrooge, a big hit in England, that big pop techno dance record, amazing, called Flying the Flag at Home by, remember Daughtry with Home? I believe he was on American Idol. And Pete Bjorn and John with Young Folks at number 5. Usher and R. Kelly with Same Girl at number 6. Boy, we got that mix right there. But we got Brandi Carlile. She's homing in at number 12 on that fantasy playlist. Love to show off those old fantasy playlists. Now, where do we need to get to now? Talked about the album. Once again, the album is called Silent Day. She's put out 6 albums. Boy, she has been past 17 years. She's been on a roll. She's put out about 17, well, not 17, but 6 or 7 solo albums. Now, here's the thing about this record. And, well, first off, if you enjoy listening to, well, let's say the female songwriters, singer-songwriters, say Linda Ronstadt. I wrote it down because I'll forget these things. If you like Sheryl Crow, if you like Stevie Nicks, even if you like Fleetwood Mac, particularly the Rumors album, Bonnie Raitt, Melissa Etheridge, Carla Bonoff from back in the day, and I believe I already mentioned some old Linda Ronstadt, 70s Linda Ronstadt, Bonnie Raitt. You'll probably get into Brandi Carlile if you never heard of her. Boy, I tell you what, this song is reeking of 70s nostalgia. It's got a rolling piano. That rolling piano and that record is one of the main arteries pumping freshly oxygenated 70s blood, 70s nostalgia into this record, carving tributaries of 70s nostalgia all over this record. The piano, boy, this is just incredible. When I listen to this record, I'll lay down and I'll listen to this record, jam out to this record along with these other records that I listen to on my Spotify playlist. And songs come to my mind from that era in the 70s. It's almost like I'm transported back 50 years ago, say laying on my bed, listening to my 5-band sound design radio, 5-band sound design radio, and listening to the Doobie Brothers, listening to Marshall Tucker. I mean, the song has got the feel. Oh, I was talking about the piano. The piano reminds me a lot. There's that rolling piano in Rod Stewart's version of I'm Losing You. He redid that old Temptation song, a rocking version of that Temptation song in 1971. He's got that similar rolling piano in there. It reminds me too of that song that Stephen Stills did back in the spring of 1971, Set Yourself Down. Although the piano in that record was more of a clunky piano, not a rolling, not a gliding piano as in this record. But then Stephen Stills had that one in the summer of '76. It was called, oh my God, I can't believe I forgot the name of the record. Buying Time, that was the name of the record. Summer of 1976, got that fantastic piano solo in the middle of the record that reminds me a lot of this rolling piano. And this record right here by Brandi Carlile, and it builds, and the song varies in intensity. The piano will build, and then it'll quiet down. It quiets to acoustic guitar, just plays as if it's just taking a break. Boy, this has been so intense. Let's just bring it down. Let's bring the temperature down a little bit, and we're going to raise that temperature back up again, because this is one hell of a record. That's what you do on a record like this. You vary the intensity, keep the audience engaged, keep you engaged, keep you falling in love with this record over and over again. The piano is gentle, and then it builds up where the guitar is gentle, and then it builds up to our electric guitar, and then she comes on stage. She's her voice. It's almost as if she's sort of semi-a-cappella on this at times on this record, as if the instruments quiet down and gives her space to showcase her vocals. It reminds me a little bit of Black Water by the Doobie Brothers, when I believe it was Tom Johnston, the lead singer at the time, when he did that semi-a-cappella thing in the first, and it's the same vibe. It is the same type of register we're dealing with here. It's a 70s sounding record. She has been known to kind of refresh the 70s a little bit. But I tell you what, I've ran out of things to say. I was thinking about another song it kind of reminds me of, Wildfire by Michael Murphy. There were times when Michael Murphy was semi-a-cappella in some places of the song, and a few instruments playing in the background. But she really shines when she has those moments. She shines all throughout the record. She varies her intensity on this record. Stephen Stills, Rod Stewart, Elton John, Linda Ronstadt, all that DNA is just embedded into this record. It is birthed into this record, rebirthed into this record. But the radio formats for this song. Now, I don't want to give you the impression. Well, first off, I don't want to give you the impression that this is just a nostalgic excursion. It is. A lot of it is. But this song does stand on its own. It's a very powerful record. Now, as far as radio formats go, well, boy, it's going to be kind of tough on this. Country may be a bit of a stretch, although I saw one of her videos. I believe it was Right on Time, the first single. It was on CMT. They played it on CMT in light rotation. I believe it was in their edge rotation, their edge category. Oh gosh, I listen to this record and I just get goosebumps. I just flat out get goosebumps. It's spine tingling. But that's what happens when you're 63 years old and a song kind of takes you back. The radio formats for this record. Okay, let me just get to it. Country would be an outside possibility. I'll talk about that in just a little bit more in just a minute. Adult alternative. Oh, perfect for adult alternative. Adult contemporary. Probably not pop, although I put it on my pop playlist. Country. Now, here's what I would do on a country station if it were me. I call it the backdoor approach. Since it's not altogether country sounding per se, put it on between midnight and 6, let it gin up a little bit, get a little bit of rotation, put it on earlier in the evening, just after about a month or so, and then throw it in the daytime, and bam. Hopefully that would work right there. I believe in this record. So that's it. We're just going to have to buzz this baby up as a possible single. A possible single for the adult contemporary, adult alternative charts, possibly alternative country, a possibility. But one way or the other, it is a top 40. It is a top 40 extra on my fantasy playlist of May the 8th, 2022. Brandi Carlile with Broken Horses.